All right, guys, we were just going to wait a couple more minutes. Dave Walk told me that he's going to have to sign on right at 9. He's got a friendly parent in his office right now. Okay, and Chantel, I just got your message about being on the phone, so awesome. If any of your fans are asking, we are live streaming that. We are live streaming this or streaming this to YouTube as well. So. Hey, Casey, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Bethany?
Good. It looks like you're in like a unified. Are you in a bowling alley, like with your unified team? Are you really?
Yep, we're at Elementary Unified Bowling Day.
That's awesome. I was
Yeah,
like,
we just got done setting up, and they come at 10. So,
so it's a unified elementary.
yep.
Oh my gosh,
It,
I love it. How long have you been doing that?
this is our third year. We did middle school yesterday,
Okay.
and that was fantastic. And then elementary's today. So,
Wow. Very cool.
yeah,
Is it at what's the location? Can we come
we're
by over lunch and see it?
we're at Bolero on Iliff in Peoria.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got a great background right now.
That's awesome. So we're just waiting for Dave Walk, you guys, and then we'll get started. Thanks for your patience. All right, you guys, I'm gonna just be respectful for everyone's time, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. I know our fearless leader and committee chair, Dave Walk, will be joining us, but just wanted to go ahead and get started and get the committee introduced, so we can move on with our day. All the committee should have received the agenda yesterday from Lakin. If you need me to put it into the chat, I'd be happy to do so again. But at this time, I'd like to just kind of go around the horn and introduce the committee and our guests that are speaking today. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Bethany Brookins with CHSAA. How about Brian Dermer and then Pete Sheck?
Brian Dermer, Marino High School. I'm former athletic director, but still serve as the guidance counselor here at Marino.
Awesome.
I'm Pete Sheck. I am the athletic director at Longmont High School.
Awesome. Great. Colleen and then Casey.
I'm Colleen Ford. I'm the athletic director at Lyons High School.
I'm Casey Powell. I'm the district athletic director at Aurora Public Schools.
All right. Dave Logan and then Tim Pearson.
Dave Logan from Stargate High School. I'm the athletic director.
Tim Pearson, Vale Christian. I'm the athletic director.
Okay, wonderful. And then Chantel, I believe you're on. Are you able to speak? She said she could hear you getting her computer set up as fast as I can. Okay, no problem. And then just double checking, do we have Brienne from McClavon? Okay, not yet. So and then Kaylee, do we have Kaylee from Air Academy? Okay, no problem. And just in time, Dave Walk. We're just doing introductions. Go ahead. Hold on, you're muted.
I apologize. I had a very passionate parent this morning. So, all right.
Oh, wait. Yeah. And so just, introduce yourself and then we're on to the guest introductions too.
Okay,
Yep.
sounds great. My name is Dave Block. I'm the Assistant Principal Athletic Director at Fossil, and I am the Chair of the Volleyball Committee. And then we will start with our guest, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, Dave. Bruce Burt, President of Colorado Volleyball Officials Association.
Awesome. And then Nikki.
I am the current rules interpreter and the president-elect for the Colorado Volleyball Officials Association.
My two rock stars. And then Lisa, go ahead.
I apologize, my camera does not work. But Lisa Shoemaker, Colorado Coaches of Girls Sports.
Okay, amazing. And then it's not Laverne. Do we have is the CC or the Chaska rep? Is there someone? Oh, Laverne.
It is Laverne.
Yay!
Hi, Laverne Houston with I'm the Colorado High School Coach Association president.
Oh, amazing. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad you're on. Great.
And Lori is here as well from CCGS. She's a co-chair with Lisa.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Great. So let's go ahead and just kick off the meeting with our guest reports. Bruce and Nikki, do you guys like to start, please?
Yes, definitely could do that for us. Our numbers this year kind of stayed the same statewide. The reason being we did have significant growth in the Colorado Springs and Denver area, but our numbers were down in some of our outlying areas, especially northern Colorado. We actually lost more than we gained, which was unfortunate. We were still able to cover our games adequately across the state, which was very positive. Some things this year also, we did see an increase in game reports, thanks to Bethany encouraging our coaches and schools, which was very positive. We like both sides of it, things that, were challenging or didn't go well as things that were positive. But I still think based on the volume of games we do during a season, I bet we're still less than 1% of game reports that come in. So we'd really like to continue to encourage that. It gives us training opportunities. It also helps us gauge the season, how it's going overall, especially if we have new rules that have been implemented across the state. The new rules for ball handling this year were positive. Positive response from coaches during matches as well as officials. We still need a little bit of work on that, understanding that third ball over the net, which will, of course, is always growth for us when we change ball handling rules for us. But again, a very positive direction we have going this year on that. I don't have a lot more than that. It was a very positive season for us. State tournament went well this year. A lot of new teams we saw, which was very exciting to see that. When it came to our new officials selection for the state tournament, we did select 10 new. Overall, we take 60 for us, and 28 of those officials actually were not here last year. But that means a combination of new officials, second-year officials returning maybe a year or two off of being selected, or maybe somebody had been gone a little bit longer. So we definitely like to see that positive rotation through our numbers because we have so many good officials each year to choose from. Nikki, did you have anything you'd like to add?
I was just going to mention maybe the before we had classified officials in the 1, 2, and 3A, grouped them together, and then had the 4A, 5A group together to kind of focus on areas of the state where we have officials just seeing those 1A, 2A schools a lot, 3A occasionally, and we restructured that this year where we grouped officials, 24 officials in the 1A, 2A category, and then we moved the big selection of officials, the 36 count officials, to the 3, 4, and 5A. So we restructured that from 1, 2, 3A and 4A, 5A to 1 and 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A group together. We felt that really gave us a way to highlight those officials who were on that bubble. They like to do the 3A, but if they like to do 3A, they either like to do 3A, 4A, 5A, or they like to do 1A, 2A, 3A. But the 3A play is really matching up with that higher level, maybe in the 4A play. So just letting, I don't know if that was an important piece, but we felt like it really worked for us this year at the state tournament to restructure that a little bit.
One thing I would like to chat on is just keep encouraging us all with the sportsmanship and the respect for, the participants, that we work with our officials to be respectful. And we ask that, the coaches and their schools, please continue to drive that message home that sportsmanship still needs to be a priority, even in the spirit of competition, showing respect for all participants, whether it's a referee, a coach, a player, our fans, and so forth. Does
Okay,
anybody
awesome.
have any questions for us?
Who was your Hall of Fame inductee this year?
Monica Hines from Alamosa. She's a former director of training for us and 30-year veteran. Very positive.
Nice.
I just want to give a shout out to Nikki and Bruce. They do so much work throughout the regular season and the postseason. We really couldn't do it without them, and you guys are amazing. As you heard, Nikki will be transitioning to the presidency role. It's in June. Is that when it all kind of switches?
July 1st. Yeah,
July
1st.
Okay. Great. So we get to, enjoy Bruce for the remainder of this year and then enjoy the transition. Nikki has been president before, and but you still will be very active with us, Bruce. You're not going away.
Correct.
So that's great news. I also just wanted to take a moment before we went to the rest of the reports. I failed to introduce Lakin or have her introduce herself, but she's in my office. I couldn't do it without Lakin. She's an amazing teammate, and you hear a lot of correspondence from her. And also, I just wanted to acknowledge the guests that were on. We do have some guests on the YouTube streaming channel, but also some guests on this meeting. And so just thank you to all of you for being attentive and being interested in this meeting today. Let's go to Colorado High School Coaches Association. So Laverne, if you would like to give a report, please.
Okay. I received an email from Becky to review some things. So a couple things she wanted me to point out. We continue to work on our education piece and are working with CHSAA in this department. She indicates we have another call for all coaches coming in December with Positive Coaching Alliance. And I know we did that in the early fall. And it was pretty well received, and I think attendance was pretty good. Volleyball clinic, our winter clinic, volleyball clinic will be January 30th and 31st at the DoubleTree in the Tech Center. There will be in the classroom and on the court on Saturday, and registration will be coming in December. She also indicates that there's some exciting things happening with the All-State Games for June 2026, and she will be sharing those details in the coming months. We will begin selecting the All-State teams soon. Those ballots will be going out. And then this year at the state tournament, we had our 3 award winners in the Pioneer, Horizon, and Coach of the Year awards. Pioneer to Michelle Chacon from Valley, and the Horizon Award went to Eddie Chacon from Centauri High School. And those two have no relation. It was just a coincidence that they have the same last name, which was funny. And then Ben Reisner from Resurrection Christian was our Coach of the Year. And then, of course, we're asking if there's any questions, any concerns, or anything you would like me to take back to the CHSAA with anything that we can do. I know out of the meeting we just had on the Colorado Coaches of Girls Sports was asking CHSAA to increase the number of nominations for our summer All-State games, and that's something that I will take back. I don't know if there's anything more.
Thank you so much, Laverne. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Laverne? Awesome. I just wanted to thank you for your help with those awards. That's always such a special time, Laverne, and congratulations on another amazing state tournament run. It's always great to see you there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dave, you want to turn it over to Lisa and Lori with CCGS?
Yeah, Lisa and Lori, go ahead.
Well, we met on Sunday, and as always, we have a great turnout of coaches. It's such an exciting time that we could get that many coaches from all divisions around the state of Colorado together to do what's best for kids. And so to me, it's such an honor to be a part of it, but also to be able to see all those coaches come together. So pretty special every time we go. So thankful for that. But Lori, I'll probably let Lori go through her list of what we did with the coaches and their different concerns, but we did get all 90 athletes lined up last night. And so that is pretty exciting that we have 2 days to get everything else ready for the games, the practices on Saturday and the games on Sunday. So without the help of Joe Schmidt, that would be impossible. But he has helped us a ton on the backside. And so we're very thankful for him. And then just, of course, all the people that we have that are helping us, but pretty exciting to get all of our athletes, 90 athletes lined up from Sunday till last night. So anyway, Lori, I'll let you go. And if I have anything to say, I'll kind of hop in there.
Sounds good. Yeah, just to piggyback, we had about 10 coaches from each classification show up. So we had about 50, I think 51 coaches at the meeting. So that was exciting to see. And we have several people helping out still from the different divisions to put this together. So just Kristen Suter, who was with Marino, Carrie Vogel, Dave Sping Christian, Chris Powers from Devlin, Mike Garvey from Eagle Valley, Rosie Cauldron from Skyview, Jared Rediger from University, and Katie Ryan from Denver South. So again, couldn't do it without all of them. And we also, in addition to doing the athlete selections, put out for nominations for our awards as well. So the Hall of Fame and the Helen McCall. So this year those were awarded Hall of Fame to Don Lash and Helen McCall Coach of the Year to our very own Laverne Houston. The couple of things just from CCGS we're still working with, there were just a few major leagues that didn't get their ballots in that did impact some of the athletes that may have been chosen. So we're still just working to spread awareness of CCGS. And Dave and several others have been working really hard just with the marketing piece of that. So Dave's put together new banners and backdrops and stickers and bag tags and shirts so that we can just work on that marketing piece. And Brickell Westfall has really worked hard to get us out on social media. And Chris Kem rebranded with a new logo. So just still working and just asking for help to spread the word from ADs and coaches just to give that awareness. The pieces that the coaches brought back, there wasn't too much, just I guess an issue with the NFHS not working consistently broadcasting, and we hear that may have been a more of a widespread Denver issue, but that was brought to us. And then just questions surrounding what's coming down either through CHSAA or NFHS rules with 6 divisions potentially in the future, and then the 2 liberos potentially in the future. And then there was one last discussion regarding upping the amount of matches that could be played, specifically to give a chance for national ranking. And a little research was put into that. It seems that most states have between 30 to 50 matches, but apparently many of those are more maybe tournament style, only going to 3 sets. So anyway, just there was a question about consideration for that. And then back to Lisa, if there's anything else I didn't mention.
No, the biggest thing on the NFHS, I don't know, Bethany, if you guys can put something out there somewhere that people understand that it wouldn't have mattered what platform you're using for the games, that when the internet's down in Denver, that obviously it's not going to work because there were so many complaints. And so it'd be kind of cute to have something to say, hey, it was the internet that was out in Denver. It's not NFHS because of all the complaints that was happening there. So that would be kind of cool. But yeah, the other stuff, I think you covered it pretty well. increasing the amount of games, I thought, oh my gosh, as a coach, you know, the season's tough enough as it is to even go higher. I don't know that would even be feasible for us, but I think it was mostly for the national, you know, getting that national recognition and ranking. So anyway, that was just most of the stuff that came from our meeting. So thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Yes, I will certainly take your feedback regarding messaging to our communications department. I know that they obviously got an earful. When the system went down, the truth is the outage at the Coliseum was actually short-lived with CenturyLink, but there was also a combination of horrible it was like just one bad thing after another. When we went back and studied it, especially with Kevin Schaefer, who, you know, really put together the NFHS programming, there was also some outages in like rural parts of the state as well. So not only was it not working in Denver and there was an outage, but then there was also issues with internet outside of the metro area. And so it was just kind of a super bad combination on that Friday. But Thursday and Saturday were better. So I appreciate that messaging and that advice. And I'll certainly talk to our communications department about that. And then Jave and I have added 6 classifications and upping the number of matches played towards the end of our agenda to try to get subcommittees together. And then with regards to the liberos, I haven't seen any formal NFHS rules changes come out yet. I do have the privilege of serving on that committee, but I will send that out, all of the rule change proposals to get feedback on those. And so we try to represent our state and our section with the desire for that. So with that being said, thank you guys so much. You really have a special time and opportunity to get a pulse with the coaches, and we are certainly very, very appreciative of that. Dave, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's it. The one question about the NFHS that came up and I could not answer, I told them to just email you. Are some of those games play-by-play, like some classifications, are there announcers, or is it just straight feed of the classification court?
I know that they're equitable, whatever it is. I know for sure for the finals, and on that Saturday I saw announcers, but I don't know. I can't speak very educated to that. I thought they had a announcer for the whole time, but I could be totally wrong. Like, because we'll get back to you on that. I don't know.
I think when you put that, if you put that information out, just maybe put out what the expectation is as far as if there's an announcer. I don't believe there were announcers on the preliminary matches.
Okay.
I didn't watch from home on Friday, Saturday, but Thursday when I was out, I did see that there was no announcer. So I don't know what the expectation is. I just assumed it was a feed. So yeah.
Okay. Great. One of the things that I missed on the agenda is the committee minutes. Dave, if you wanted to jump to that, sorry.
All right. No, I was wondering, we probably ought to, Lake is probably going to go, are we going to accept the minutes? So I need a motion from one of the committee members to accept the 2024 committee minutes.
I'll motion.
Okay, that's Colleen. Who seconds? Pete does.
Pete.
Is there any other additions to the agenda from the committee members present that need to be added from their space as a feedback issue? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward. We took care of item 3 on the agenda. We'll move to the CHSAA report. Bethany and Lakin, would you help us out with that?
Absolutely. So we'll start back in the spring with our boys season. This was the first time. It was really exciting that we had 2 classifications for our boys, and that it was also the first time that we used Fountain Fort Carson's beautiful facility and just had a tremendous time down there. So again, we had our first 4A state champions crowned with Regis Groff, and then Pueblo South was the second place. And then for 5A, Eagle Crest, congratulations. They were the champions, with Littleton Public Schools being our second place. And again, just had a fantastic time at Fountain Fort Carson. And we are excited to announce that we will be going back there again for the boys. Their program, and especially their head coach, were just absolutely fantastic. And so we're excited to do that for the boys and showcase them. And we do continue to get more and more boys teams pop up, especially in the smaller schools. And so that's really, really exciting as that interest continues to grow. And then just a quick note for our congratulations. Last weekend at the Coliseum at 1A, Fleming was the champion with McClave, the runner-up. And 2A, Simla won with Sedgwick County, the runner-up. 3A was Eaton with Alamosa as the runner-up. And 4A, University was the champion with our Windsor as the runner-up. And then 5A, Valor Christian with the winner, and then Chaparral as the runner-up. And I guess I would just be remiss here to just say a note how special it was with the difficulties of Janie and the coach at Valor Christian. What a special time it was in the story that we posted and in the news that she was able to have the game ball presented to her before she unfortunately passed away on Saturday night. And just a remarkable story of what a tremendous individual Janie is and was, and just the legacy that she is leaving. So very touching. I also wanted to let you guys know, along with the CHSAA and the CCGS awards, we had a really exciting opportunity to recognize the 50th anniversary teams for our first state championships in 1975 at the 1A, 2A, and 3A classifications. And we had 4 of the 6 teams represented. We organized them so that they were on the courts during the parade, and their names were introduced. And it was just a really, really special moment. And so we're looking to continue with that for girls basketball as well, since it's also the 50th anniversary for girls basketball. The Prairie participants that were there, I think there was 12 or 13 ladies. And I'm sure many of those are also part of that first girls basketball team. And so we'll get to see them again, but just a really, really special time, with all these tremendous women leading the way for us to participate. So that was awesome. One of the things that Nikki and Bruce did not go over, but I think it's really important for all of us to know, is that our officials are always looking to get better. So we take that feedback. It's super beneficial, but we also did something special this year where CHSAA partnered with PAVO, which is the Professional Association of Volleyball Officials, and CVOA, and the NFHS was also involved. And our state was a pilot to put together a line judge training. And so we used PAVO's line judges that train the college line judge officials. And we did 2 different Zooms. They were 1 hour long towards the end of the season. And in order to work regionals and state, our officials had to have attended that Zoom. And so this was a training. Joan Powell was instrumental in helping us put this together and kind of connect all of the entities. But we had, this professional / college / high school opportunity to really grow the game and improve the game from the grassroots level all the way up. And in talking with the other states, they are looking to have this opportunity given to them in the future next year, but Colorado was the first state to benefit. So again, we had this amazing line judge training, and we are looking to continue to build on that next year. We're already talking about 2.0 and what that version might look like. But again, as I explained to the officials on the call, we throw our officials into a very tough position at state because they are not only acting as the referee, the up and down ref, but also line judges. And many times this is the first time that they've worked as line judges the entire year. And so when they are at the Coliseum in front of the crowd, in front of these tense moments and like the most, viewed matches of the entire season, they've had no practice. And so we've really emphasized the importance of line judges and it's been a goal to raise that bar. And so I hope that you may have noticed and will continue to notice that growth with our officials. So that was great. Any questions? Okay, awesome. Are you good if I just go right into clock, Dave?
Well, I would run real quick. And especially since Pete's on. Josh and the group from St. Vrain, the Ball Shaggers. I don't think people fully understand the power and the presence of those kids, the significance. I know our kids, I hear it every year when Fossil's there, getting to autograph their shirts after a match. I mean, those are just captive memories that make that moment special for a lot of reasons. And I know historically when that started with Diane Ruby and Terry Ward up there, but I tell you what, Josh has really, he had a sick kiddo there. I mean, him and the parents and the other staff, St. Vrain really needs a huge shout out for providing that, because that really does make the space. And for those, when they take off and the rest of us have to do it at 11:30 at night, we are not nearly as professional as those kids. Those of us that were out ball shagging that 4A match with LP. But yeah, so huge shout out to St. Vrain. I just think that's a neat thing. So thank you for allowing that to happen, Chase and company.
You bet. I'll let Josh know too.
Josh is amazing. Every year he asks if he can come back, and I said I wouldn't want to do it without him. So he's fantastic. It's really special. Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
This is more of an FYI, maybe for the coaches on the call, but the athletic directors should be aware. The clock process, or the classifying process for the next cycle, that data has been released. There are preliminary splits that are on our website and that every school can look at. I'll just read them to you for girls and boys for those guests that are on. But the 1A, again, these are preliminary splits that still have to be approved on December 10th by the clock committee. The 1A is 1 to 99, 2A is 100 to 299, 3A is 300 to 749, 4A is 750 to 1499, and then 5A is 1500 and above. For the boys volleyball, the 4A range is 1 to 140, 1,499, and then 5A is 1500 and up. And just so you guys know, this is for the first, well, not the first time, but the first time in a while that we're actually using a 3-year average. And so the classification process has changed. It's always going to be modified. It's one of those factors where I think to myself, it's job security, because the discussion of rankings and classification will just continuously keep us having a job, but it'll always change and keep adjusting as the membership thinks is best. There is certainly a way on our website, but I've also broken it down on the agenda so that the committee members can see a breakdown of schools for the girls and the boys. And so that's what it's going to be looking like moving forward. Just a reminder for anyone who, maybe not be aware with the clock process, this will be the first time that we actually have a formalized process in place of, essentially telling schools that are extremely excellent or have had a huge history of success. There is now a process for all of our sports for teams to be placed up. There's also a mechanism, a very, calibrated and specific mechanism of teams being placed down and still able to make the playoffs. And that's if you've had a winning percentage against your classification of less than 10% over the last 3 years. You have that option. And then any team that is just looking to play down, they are able to do that at the request of, certainly their athletic director, but they won't have playoff opportunities. And so again, things have just changed. It's more of just an FYI that everything will then be approved on December 10th with those ranges. And I guess at this point, Dave, why don't you take the 6 classification discussion and give your thoughts on that subcommittee?
It's we get several times in this committee, those of you that have been on long enough, this conversation has come about 6 classifications, primarily because girls and boys basketball are a 6 classification split. I think through natural progression, volleyball would be considered one of the next sports to do that. I don't mind those conversations. Historically with CHSAA, I feel that sometimes especially at the committee level, for those of you that are new to the committee this year, this needs to be a very collaborative process. And having to deal with, just FYI, dealing with Georgia's state association this year and New York state associations, CHSAA, we are in a very, very fortunate position under our leadership and our processes to be told by an athletic administrator in another state, well, we don't talk to our commissioners, they talk to us. And I, diving into that, I'm just like blown away. So I think Colorado's on the forefront. I was just talking to a friend who is in Kentucky, and they were talking about their association, and Tennessee last night. And again, very limited opportunities for us to have a voice, say from the Coaches Association all the way up to the committee here that's making decisions. So that being said, as we look at 6 classifications, I feel that I don't want us just to arbitrarily make that decision, or I want us to be as informed. And I think to look at potentially 6 classifications for the 28, the next cycle after the 26-28 cycle, it would give us a chance to, especially because most of you will be on through a big chunk of that, to look at what does that look like, 6 classifications. It's not just like what she just went over and it's numbers. Yes, that is part of it. But when we come to the state tournament and the format that we have, there are some definite assets in our system that are great. For instance, having all of the tournament under one roof, right? 5 courts. You go to 6 classifications, you need a 6th court. What does that look like? And I guess the thought behind it is just as we look, historically, again, Bethany, correct me if I'm wrong, my involvement in TP&F prior to being volleyball chair showed volleyball didn't always make money until we changed to this new format. It was a hit or miss when we did. Right now, we operate in the black. Is that correct, Bethany?
Yep.
So that being said, the financial expense and the consideration of a premier experience like what we have does need to be weighed in the decision making. So that conversation of 6 classifications on the surface looks like a very simple vote, like, hey, let's just go to 6 classifications. But there are a lot of ripple effects that if we decide to go that route, and I would like to spend the next 2 years taking a look at that with a few of you and maybe some other folks outside the committee. Bethany can recommend coaches, if you will, and see what it takes. And that potentially could be a format change in the postseason to get us what we need and still maintain the assets that we see in the CHSAA volleyball state tournament. Does anybody else have thoughts or questions around 6A? I mean, like I said, there's no press right now for that to happen. But it's out there to question. And I think that for us to be forward thinking, we need to look at the reality of that as we move forward, what kind of implications it has on volleyball.
I think you said it well, Dave. I just think it's important for our committee to have an informed, approach in this. Like you said, it can seem super simple, but at the same time, we have really something very special with volleyball right now. We want to make sure that we keep that and don't just make, a decision with unintended consequences. And so I really appreciate that idea and your thoughts.
Anybody else? Dave, Brian, Colleen, any ADs, Pete, Tim?
Yeah, I just want, I think part of it is the determination of how it'll affect the tournament at the end and what degree of flexibility there is to make changes to meet the needs of 6 classifications versus 5. So, and those are going to be conversations over a long period of time, but it could be interesting. I mean, if you go to a basketball format where 1, 2, and 3 play on one day, 4, 5, and 6 play on another day, and you lead up through the course of a week to Saturday or something like that. But those are conversations that probably are the biggest deciders on how 6 classifications will really affect volleyball.
For sure. Thank you. And then Dave, did you want to just talk briefly? I know the CCGS folks brought up the 23 matches and
similar structure again. I don't think people, I think again, on the surface, when these ideas come to committees, I appreciate the initiative, right? And I think they were wanting to have more opportunities to play more volleyball games on their schedule. That is a bylaw change. It's a little different than a format change in a tournament type of thing. So that one again would be needing some work by us around the space. Now, my initial thoughts as I hear that from coaches in the CCGS meeting is wrestling has like tournaments and duels, and they still hit that 22. Volleyball is a little different. I think there's an element there. When volleyball teams play in tournaments, they play 2 out of 3. No other sport has a condensed game format in that structure. So when we have basketball tournaments, it's straight games. They don't have a condensed shorter quarters, things like that. So there is some room, I think, for creativity around that in some states. I think, again, for me, as a leader of this and with you all, I'm kind of curious, is this something we want to explore on behalf of the coaches and create a subcommittee that looks at other states, what other states are doing, and maybe we beg, borrow, and steal ideas that seem to work and still fit within our system. Like I said, I told the coach the other day when that came up that we're open to it. We're open to the conversation. It's more than just a simple, hey, let's just add 7 games to the contest and go to 30 matches in a season. Those of you that are administrators, you all know scheduling and the cost and the ripple effects that has down the road. And so I think, keeping in mind, maybe I know some states I've seen where they have tournament dates on a season. So maybe we have 19 contests and then 5 tournament dates or 4 tournament dates, something like that you could play as many 2 out of 3 as you wanted, something along those lines. That question. Yeah. So I'm just saying, again, people bring ideas or questions, and I think it's our charge as a committee to at least acknowledge those questions and then see what we could do putting our heads together. So again, I told Bethany potentially a subcommittee, like with the libero question, to me, that's an NFHS, that's a rules thing. And I feel like she addresses that, but this bylaw change and potential format change, that's housed pretty much in our neck of the woods. So be curious to see if folks feel, let me, I guess, ask this question. Do you think having a subcommittee to look at these 2 particular elements are worth our time?
Can I ask a question just in terms of is the request to look at increasing the number of games, is that across classifications? Is that lots of coaches across all classifications? And kind of where that question or desire is coming from? A little more detail on that.
Yeah. So CCGS has an all-state selection meeting on Sunday after state, and I'm president of that organization. Historically, we've tried to create a space for coaches to come where they all could come together and just talk about CHSAA stuff and recognize that Laverne or a CHSAA representative is typically there and the CCGS, and they come at that with ideas and conceptual. So yes, it was a conversation around 5 different classifications over, I think there were 55 coaches there, 50 some coaches. And those are that we asked them rich, robust discussion, but then it's also, narrowing it down to these things. And so the libero, 2 liberos, that question came up, the adding contests, the NFHS was the only complaint, if you will. And it was just more about understanding and being informed. And then also this situation with 6 classifications as where are we at with it was the question. So those are kind of the targeted elements. And I thought those were things. I talked to Bethany a little bit around the stuff, and there were only 2 of those that really fit within our wheelhouse. And so to be moving forward, being proactive versus reactive was kind of my initial thoughts there.
You mentioned one more games to be nationally ranked. How many do you need to be nationally ranked?
That's an odd, and I didn't speak out loud to the group with this because a couple years ago when Lewis Palmer was so successful in winning multiple state titles, they won the mythical Max Preps National Championship. So there was a ranking thing there. So that part that nuance was brought up, and people seem to be shaking their heads. Yes, that's something. I don't know I don't know that for a fact. I was actually kind of caught off guard by that specifically because I do know that, for instance, Fossil had a successful season this year. We played at a nationally ranked tournament down in Arizona. But we were still up there. Do you know what I mean? I don't know that it was the number of game contests that were a primary variable in that. I think it's strength of schedule and their ranking system's that national ranking system's a little bit different than what the ranking is from what I've read in the proprietary algorithm that they use, the description sheet. So I think those are questions that the subcommittee could ask if that is. But I do know that was something the coaches said, that their perspective is that the national ranking is dependent on number of contests, and that would be something we need to explore.
I just asked Ryan, and he said that 23 is enough matches to get nationally ranked, just FYI. But to Colleen's point, I mean, I think a subcommittee, it's not, I mean, we may as well explore it if we're exploring 6 classifications, and it could really be as simple as a survey. Because, I mean, for those of you guys who've done this for, a little bit, the trickle down of adding a bylaw to add more games is not just specific to that sport, because then all of a sudden the other sports start thinking, oh, why not me? What are the, like, it's a larger discussion. And one of the questions that came from a league and our board of directors, there was, that question about, well, why does 1A get 24 instead of 36 teams at regionals? And so we've talked about that as a committee before, and the desire, at least, I mean, there's been no proposal brought forward formally to us to want to increase that. But again, I'd be curious if this is, maybe just a larger school desire, or if the smaller schools want it. But it's certainly, I mean, I'd always be open to even just sending a survey and seeing if there was interest, to Colleen's point.
Sorry, I want to add one thing. Sorry,
Sure.
I'm late to the party.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, how's it going? I think the idea of a subcommittee and, being open to change and all of that is great. So I think that's a great idea to do that. But from like an administrator's perspective, as far as just adding games, volleyball players miss more school than any of our other athletes just because they have so many weekday games. We back a lot of our games up to like junior high games and some of the rural school schedules. So volleyball's tough because they are already missing so much school, whereas football, they're really not missing any school. Basketball's more on the weekends as well. So that's just, I do worry about that piece of it, just the missing of even more school than they already are.
I appreciate that. Chantel gave you a thumbs up too.
I think it's a good idea to explore. I agree that, they're out of school probably a little more. I have a granddaughter that played in Kansas, and they actually play 32 games per season. And not that it's a bad thing, but they are playing Tuesday, Thursday, and then they have tournaments on Saturday. So that's, a little bit of what the schedule would look like. And they actually started a week earlier with their state competition than what Colorado does. So they've really kind of got them jammed in there. The other thing, and someone else brought this up, traditionally, whatever volleyball did, basketball kind of follows. So, just will we be looking at the same thing? The basketball coaches getting together and, wanting to increase that game schedule as well. So, but I do think it's a good idea to, to explore it. Isn't going to hurt anything.
Coaches always want more games, but they never want to play back to back.
Right. Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
early in the morning. Remember, it's all about the game times.
There's definitely that. And I think, Brian, you bring up a good point, and that's one of the questions. Bylaw proposals get a little, to me, that needs to come from a league and or some sort of body of entity, or a region where they get together. The committee can refer people back. I think, to me, on that particular, on 5.4's note, is we could give them information on other states or other, the survey data and others, what other states are doing, and then a league of athletic directors, administrators can come forth and put that in. I don't think it's, like I told the coach, I don't think it's crazy, because one of the coaches came up afterwards and was like, "You could do this, this, and this." I said, "That's great. Let the committee feel it out and be a voice, and then share that information out with the membership around the leagues." Because to me, bylaws should not come from the committee. It can either come from the board, or it can come from a league. And so that's kind of where I left that. But the concept around having a voice, and we, the folks that are representing volleyball specifically, at least collecting information and being that role or that agent in that space. Because like I told coaches, there's only so many days in a month. And, in softball, I mean, there's conversations around softball as well. To Brianne's point of missing school, my softball team, we actually tracked it. They're missed about as much as golf does. And so it's pretty insane amount of time. I think the only window, candidly, as a former volleyball coach, is potentially Saturday dates where they can play more 2 out of 3 contests. That's to me the only thing that would potentially change, and it wouldn't be significant, maybe up to 30, things like that, because of the window of a 2 out of 3. That's kind of historically a thing for people. So that's the only window I see as potential. But I think, like I said, I think a survey, looking at what other states, providing that information, giving that back to coaches to go to their administrators to develop something to come from the grassroots there. But the classification and the format change, I mean, we're dealing with it because basketball's at 6A, just like you said. Do you know what I mean? We up our games, basketball one up there. It's true. Well, it's right now, that's where we're dealing with the 6A question. And I think to me, it's more of a pressing question in the sense, not that there's an outside entity pushing on it, but it's there. And again, proactive versus being reactive would be my thing there, because there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle people don't fully understand when it comes to the state tournament, the cost, the rental of facilities. To have all those ball shaggers. I mean, honestly, that would be a thing that they would have to have more kids to run another quarter. There's just a lot of things to be considered. And officials, the number of officials, which we know is there. There's just all those pieces. So it's not a simple question at 6A classification. So So I think if you all feel that we can at least have a subcommittee to work on these things with the goal of just getting information, right? I don't think that right now a decision has to be made as much as selecting people to work towards collecting the info.
I agree 100%. Thank you, Dave. So you and I will find some dates and we'll get some people together.
Yep, hopefully there'll be people willing to serve that space. Speaking of which, another example of a decision is with the boys volleyball coaches have come to us, and Dave Logan can jump in as well. They've really wanted to change the ball to a textured ball, which may sound, some people may ask the question why. It's what the boys game is using. The one thing, the consideration when a lot of people have brought up the textured ball is it would need to be a Wilson, because that is our partner in our balls equipment here at CHSAA. So a committee survey was sent out, and if you took a look at the survey results, there was a lot of overwhelming yes to that. Again, a decision, but there's a nuance. People are like, oh, well, maybe Wilson would just give us a bunch of balls so we wouldn't have to go buy them. I saw a couple of comments in there, and although Wilson is a generous partner, I don't know that they want to step up. Maybe the Broncos, instead of helmets, want to donate volleyballs. We'll see. But
Dave,
no, it's a good thing. But so I think that's there. So if you want to talk, Bethany, kind of what you have, the work you have done.
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, so up until this past year, the NFHS has not allowed the use of any sort of textured ball. By definition in the rule book, the ball had to be smooth. So we got to a good place last January where the committee allowed, by state association adoption, starting in the school year 26-27, the use of a textured ball. And so it takes out those words of, smooth. There's also, there were color requirements where a third of the panels had to be white. Like all of that has technically been taken out if the states approve to move in this direction, which brings in the ability for states to use a textured ball if they choose. And so I'm going to be honest, about a week ago before I sent that survey out, I was like, Dave, technically the girls can use this ball. So why don't we just send it out to everyone? And he's like, oh, this is going to be a firestorm, Bethany. So I think it was a very smart choice that we just started with the boys. We have heard nothing about the desire for girls teams to move to a textured ball, although they could. I'm just saying that if in the future they wanted to do this, they absolutely could. I think there would be a huge financial impact to change the ball for the girls. But for the boys, because it's a newer sport, because they do see it, a textured ball, not only in club, but at the collegiate level and all levels, we thought it made sense. So we sent out this survey result. And so we'd like the committee to vote on it. I will tell you that, I sent you the results. There were 48 individuals, both athletic directors and coaches that responded. It was about 40% athletic directors, 60% coaches, and there was a over 80% desire to move to a textured ball for the 26-27 season. Now, this ball would only be mandated in the playoffs. And so, just like currently, if you wanted to use a different brand during the regular season, actually, technically you could, but if you know that you're going to see this ball in the playoffs, typically schools elect to move to that direction and have that ball. There were certainly, as you noted, Dave, concerns about cost. There were some coaches that wanted to use it this year. So it kind of ran the gamut. Dave Logan, what are your thoughts since you're a boys volleyball advocate?
Outside of the cost, I almost fell out of my chair when I saw $100 a ball. That's the biggest factor, because I don't know that you can play the regular season with a Tachikara smooth ball and then move to it. But how do you buy 30 balls at one time, which you can't? Right now we share boys and girls balls. So I buy, the boys beat them up at the end. By the time we get through a whole season for both boys and girls, then we have to turn around and replace them at like $35 or $40 a ball. That's a little more reasonable, but to find an inventory of one sport using just the one ball at $100 a ball is going to be pretty steep price to ask. But I still think it's the right thing to do to move forward with it for the guys. But to see, again, maybe the girls go to it later too, and then we're back to sharing the balls and the cost goes down. But I think it's a great idea. It's just the cost is the biggest concern for me from an athletic director's perspective at a medium-sized school.
Yeah, I agree. Any other comments on this, you guys?
At the coaches meeting with the girls coaches asked that question. It was a resounding no.
Good.
Yeah, that's the feedback I've gotten too, is would the girls game just follow suit, and that there's not a desire for it in the girls game. That's just feedback I've heard.
That sounds good.
It's still
Casey?
an NFHS stamp, correct?
Yes, and this ball has already been approved, so it would have the stamp. Anyone else? Casey, your thoughts?
No, all my ADs except for one were in favor, so they're all for it. And I'm the one paying the bill, so
I was gonna say, yeah.
I get to buy a
You
ball.
want to buy you?
So I'm looking for a deal right now. So
Okay. All right, Dave. Oh, I feel like the internet's going down.
We need to vote on this. This is
Yes.
a vote.
So it's going to show up as the committee, if the committee does vote to approve, that it's going to be a recommendation for our state to adopt this rule modification. We'll have to still run it by the board of directors and have it approved by the legislative council on our committee, but just as an FYI, I definitely think that we should vote. Dave, if you want to do that.
So what we need is, and just for clarification before we ask for a motion, is we need to make sure that everybody understands this would not be until the 26-28 cycle. So not this season. The spring season would be still under the old structure. It is similar to the existing structure of this ball would be a playoff ball, required playoff ball, postseason ball only. If you're hosting a boys regional, those balls would be shipped out to you just like they are in the girls' side for the contest. So therefore, that the structure is still the same. We're just basically changing the texture. And if a school chooses to update their inventory in the boys' game, like I said, both feedback on both sides. Some are very much for. Other ones are like, well, the part of the reason we chose to do volleyball is we already have the equipment. It was cheaper, right? So now you're changing that dynamic. But so basically we would need a motion from one of the committee members detailing that we would be choosing an alternative ball with textured surface to meet the new expectations from the NFHS for the starting in the 26-28 cycle.
Who wants to make the motion?
I'll make a motion that we move to adapt the textured ball for boys volleyball through the starting in the 26-28 cycle. Did I get them all in, Dave?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like Casey seconded.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of this adoption or rule change or ball change? Do you want to roll call, Bethany, or just?
Maybe just do like a thumbs up in your screen. I think everyone has all the committee members have their.
Yep. All those in favor, thumbs up.
Okay. Again, unanimous. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, they're going to be super excited. So thank you guys.
When will you make that, that the committee is moving forward with the recommendation? When are you going to communicate that out?
Whenever the committee report is done on our end, but yeah, we can do it, as soon as possible. It'll be, technically approved in February. So.
Yep, okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then the rest are just items of more of an FYI for dates.
Yep. Dates. Is there any questions on the dates from the committee?
They're just corresponding dates. Nothing changes. And that's it. I just added in under the additional agenda items, a thank you to the Ball Shaggers and the 50th year anniversary teams.
That was neat, Bethany. I'm going to applaud you again, you and Lakin, around that 50th anniversary. I'm maybe call me a sentimental dude, but to go back underneath the stadium we went to the practice area to do a group photo with all of those former female athletes who had that opportunity. And then I had the luxury of helping one get back all the way up to the pride that they had in their communities, whether it was Mitchell, Valley, Prairie, and
Lyman.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Lyman. Yeah, it was just a very cool place. Terry Ward, a long time basketball coach, she said some kind words and there were some tears, and it was just a really neat thing. And so I hope that the basketball gets the same opportunity. I know they're going to, but we as administrators, I hope you will take the time in your communities to celebrate the 50th anniversary of CHSAA sanctioning of girls basketball as you come into your season.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
All right. We needed a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is that correct, Ms. Bethany?
Yes, please.
All right.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
There's Brianne. Second.
I'll second.
Right. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate all you folks do. Please feel free to come help out at the Boys State Volleyball Tournament. Bethany sends that invite out. It's neat to see administrators there, especially if you haven't had a chance to see boys volleyball. Come down to the state tournament there, and then also November of 26, we'll be back at it. So here we go. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. Happy holidays. Bye.